Macharoni.
Molweni.
Welcome to The View from Here. My name is Sally Sutole from the University of Johannesburg in South Africa.
I'm Kambeli Shepili. Every year, the Honours Communication and Media students at the University of Johannesburg Humanities Faculty participate in this special project with students from around the world.
I'm Rose Rapuru. Here at UJ, we have been taking a look at the impact of technology from an African perspective.
And today we are joined by our peers at Toronto Metropolitan University in Canada.
Let's meet our fellow presenters at TMU, Saina Armstrong, Diana Milkert, and Ainsley Soterick.
I'm Ainsley Soterick.
And I'm Diana McClatt.
And we're looking extremely forward to watching the films you've produced.
Looking forward to chatting with you later. We've made 3 short documentary films inspired by the impact of technology from an African perspective.
Our stories are about innovation, and first up we take a look at a film by a young mother who teaches computer code to kids as young as 3 years.
We spent time with a Sangoma, or traditional healer, who was reluctant to follow her calling at first, but now uses state-of-the-art media technology to share ancient healing practices.
And we tell the story of another Sangoma who involves mainstream medical doctors in traditional healing. Let's take a look.
My name is Noluvuyo Gadu. I was born in a city called Gqeberha, formerly known as Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape. I had a strong need to solve problems, or I love problem solving, and I think the technology space offered me with an opportunity to solve problems. Some of the notable achievements in my career thus far was being named one of the young 200 South Africans by the Mail and Guardian. It was giving a TEDx talk. What led into the creation of Code Ngwana in 2019 was sparked by my frustration, where when I looked at South Africa, we had a high unemployment rate. Yet when it came to certain skills, we would source certain skills outside the country. What Code Ngwana does, or what it stands for, it is a non-profit organization that teaches young kids coding and computational thinking in order for kids to be able to solve the problems with technology in the future. My children love solving problems, just like myself. They're very curious, they're very eager to learn about technology, and we both find ways to connect through the work that I do.
Hi, I'm Ivuyo Mpekelana, and I am 12 years old. What my mom has taught me about technology is that it's digital things. For instance, computers, phones, and cameras, and all other stuff that are around us. And coding is basically telling a computer or a phone to do something like a command.
When GP Park Primary closed down in 2022, it was a loss of revenue for Code Ngwana. It was a loss of an employment opportunity for our team that sat within GP Park Primary, or was servicing GP Park Primary. How I recovered from GP Park Primary closing down was constantly looking at opportunities where Code Ngwana can add value that are aligned or similar to the work that we're doing at GP Park Primary. We then formed partnership with a non-profit organization in Hillbrow that is called Dlalanje, where we help kids around the Hillbrow area from plus minus 20 schools learn coding. And for me, my interest in including disadvantaged communities was also sparked by an incident that took place of a fire that broke down in Khayelitsha in Cape Town. The father and the young daughter were trying to get hold of emergency services to come and help them. As the emergency services was trying to locate where they are in order for them to come and assist, they realized that it was difficult for them to come because they stayed in an informal settlement. Some of the solutions that can be created with technology to decrease these incidents is, for example, a simple solution which Uganda has started piloting of digital addresses, where irrespective of the kind of settlement people stay in, they have an address, and with that address, they are able to be located, they are able to gain access to basic services. And I think technology is quite a powerful tool that can help give people human dignity that we often don't give.
Kampo, also known as Umkhulu Mahlatini Kapangkhono Mabadaong, Gumela Piwendabuko, dealing a lot with issues relating to African spirituality, more specifically to do with Indaba Zomoya, Nehlosi. Well, I was born and bred in Soweto. Raised by my grandparents, and my grandparents played a very important role because my mom traveled a lot through market research. They really played an important role in that aspect, and with my aunt also being in the background but also very active. So what stood out for me the most in my childhood would be the activities that I was involved in being sport. I enjoyed netball and swimming. I started to have a feeling that I had a calling. It started at a young age with the type of dreams that I was having. From dreaming of different colored and different types of snakes to a lot of water, whether they be waterfalls or being underwater. It did affect me in a sense because now myself being an introvert, and it did affect also my esteem as well. But after having shared those dreams with my family, it actually validated and gave me that knowledge that it's okay.
Njengoba bese ngishilo ukuthi bengazivela ukuthi unamadlozi, so ngamiyeka ukuthi ahambe ayozitholela yena ayohlahluba, ngathi hambe emuntwini uyohlahluba angezwanga, uyabona, wahamba wahlahluba wathola ukuthi unamadlozi. So ngamsupporta all the way from the start la qala khona kuze kube today, and it was not an easy journey.
I initiated about 10 years ago, being based at a Gobela's house, and the duration was for 6 months. I really had to juggle the initiation process with my corporate work, which really did affect me. So in 2019, I was retrenched, and I did not fight or resist it. I accepted the retrenchment letter because also the type of dreams that I had, I would say they did validate it, not so much confirm it. So my experience at Josie FM is that it's a great experience. I managed to secure the job through my interactions and engagements with various people on social media, more specifically being Instagram. So there's a lot of education, there's a lot of personal life as well. So I think what really struck them was my work-life balance, as a traditional healer, being young as well. So that really landed me the job on Josie FM, where I work every Fridays. So I incorporated technology in my practice through how people are able to access me, firstly. So people can reach out to me via cell phone, they can book a session, and the virtual side really works well for my international clients. So my challenges when it comes to combining the two, the modern and the ancient way, is that right now technology, it does work and it's very helpful, but the main challenge is connectivity, it's the network. I find myself really in tune and within a session and then being interrupted by network coverage. So words of wisdom that I would like to share with viewers is really on changing the misconceptions, or the narrative rather, around traditional healing. That, many may be called but few are chosen. And it's really all about learning to understand the gift in itself. There's a lot of fulfilling things that come with healing. just being able to assist people and see them get their breakthroughs, it really does become fulfilling. And at that point, motivates me every day to keep on doing.
Mina igama lami nguLerato. Ngizalwa kaMsibi and I was born here in Orlando. Ngimuntu wala eSoweto. I'm a prophet and ngiyinyanga. Lesipho lesi isipho esiphuma from kumzali wami, ne? Mara umzali sakashiya, ne? Ngo-2016. No, bengikhulu abangitshela ukuthi bengumuntu onjani, ne? Bathi bengihlupha kakhulu, like if mami bekengeke aze aye esontweni. Yeah. So bengikhula ngumntwana bekesokolisa njalo ngokuthi mufika ilanga lokuthi kuyiwe esontweni, ilanga lokukhuleka. Maybe umama makangafuni ukuya lapho. Bengiba umntwana ogulayo like iviki lonke ngizomsokolisa up until ngize ngingene endaweni yokukhuleka. Amaphupho amabi wona ayafika, but mawafika amaphupho lawo kufanele uthi umuvuke ekseni mhlambe ubuze kwabadala or kwabantu aba-understandayo amaphupho, then bese bake-explainela ukuthi kusuke kuyisimo siphi, ne? Lawo maphupho mawafika, yes mabi, but ahlambulula isimo leso ukuthi what's going to happen or something happened. Mhlambe kwesinye isikhathi asazi kukhona omunye womndeni akasekho mhlambe in a close family or kunezoba nesifo, iyasibonisa nje leso simo leso. Finally, kube tough, then you will understand ukuthi usempilweni, ne? Sort of about that. Challenges ahlala khona. Asithi nje mhlambe singaphakathi kwesikole. Ukusebenza ngomuntu kunzima kakhulu, ne? So yes, begisiza mama. Mara I don't want to lie, be relaxed a lot. Yes. Then now irresponsibility is too much. Ngiyangena mina ku TikTok ezinye izinto kakhulu imithi yesintu, ne? Imithi like aboma garlic, umuthi wesintu, the only thing asizina kithi ngithi, and uthola ukuthi bathi garlic uhlanganise ne lemon, uhlanganise nani iyanceda. Angisebenzi umlungu, angina msebenzi okusebenzayo. Ngihlala ngaphakathi kwendlu, but angilali ngadlanga. So give me, it's part of msebenzi wami okubekela isinkwa phezulu kwetafula. Le organization izwe lonke traditional healer. So isisiza kakhulu ngokuthi ikwazi ukusimela, ngoba kwezinye izinto thina ama traditional healers abas-allow la ku-government abas-allow. Then mina la ekhaya ngiyibishop, archbishop umncane osakazi ukuthi une-calling. Ngingamtshela nje phela ukuthi akhuleke.
Ngikwethi yakwenenye bahlakwa. Hiri.
Solomon yarada.
Sehlana bathu.
Get back.
watching The View from here.
The stories we've shot have raised so many issues. We are joined again by Siana, Diana, and Exley from the Toronto Metropolitan University. What do you think about our films, Diana?
So the film about the mother teaching code to her children and the young kids, I didn't realize how beneficial computational skills are, like programming for our future jobs. And even within our industry, within the creative industries, you need coding for things like web design. So I thought it was really interesting.
And I also really enjoyed the film about traditional healing. My mom has a really close friend who also does traditional healing. So it was really nice to see that what I've seen in my personal life also translates across the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Prior to watching the films, I obviously knew what traditional healing was and I had what I thought about it, but after going through the film, I did some research after and it really changed my viewpoint on traditional healing.
Now, you might think that these stories are unique to African, right? But I have a question for you, though, because most South Africans do not know much about the culture of Canadians. So the question is, do Canadians consult with traditional healers?
I have a personal close family friend that does traditional healing. So it's not something that's uncommon in my personal life, but here in Canada, there are over 250 ethnicities in Toronto. And we're a city of about 4 million people. So you can find all kinds of traditional healing here. And a lot of Canadians use Asian healing methods such as acupuncture and South Asian practices like Reiki, the Indian practices of Ayurveda, which is the balance of mind, body, and spirit, which is very popular here as well.
Yeah. And there's also about 350,000 people from the Caribbean in Toronto, the majority being from Jamaica. In the Afro-Caribbean community, a lot of healing practices are based in spirituality, mainly consisting of Christian faith, but there are also elements in connection to our African past such as voodoo, obeah, and satira.
Diana, I also know that Canada has a First Nation population. What sort of traditional healing takes place in that community?
So in Canada, there are almost 2 million people, 2 million Indigenous people, and hundreds of distinct First Nation communities. And in Toronto, there's a community health center named Anishinaabe Health Toronto that serves the Indigenous community, and they provide healthcare and healing with the guidance of traditional healers, elders, medicine people, and their clients have access to traditional medicines and can also participate in ceremonies like the sweat lodge, smudging, and naming ceremonies.
Most of the traditional healers we find use social media. They are on Facebook and YouTube. They have websites. Much of the healing itself is hands-on, but some do counseling online.
Sally, what do you think about modern technology being incorporated into traditional healing in South Africa?
Well, let's start first by this fact that almost 60% of the South African population rely on traditional medicine. And I feel like, I believe rather that modern technology should be implemented in tradition because it does harness our African lineage or our knowledge about traditional healing. Also, it increases treatment options for our people. But also, with all the positives, there are challenges. So I think it is really important for us to, when we are going into that route, we must also be considerate about some of the challenges that we might encounter as we are consulting with traditional healers.
One of our films dealt with teaching computer code to very young kids. Diana, what are some of the challenges teaching technology to kids in what you call elementary school, which is what we call primary school or even like kindergartens? How was it there?
So I actually know an elementary school teacher who teaches grade 5, and within her school, all of her students have access to their own Chromebooks. And a challenge is when lessons are being taught with the Chromebooks, it's harder to monitor what the students are doing on their devices, which can lead to cheating, plagiarism, or just simply not staying on task. And outside of the classroom, most students have their own personal electronic devices. So that could be an iPhone or just a smartphone of any sorts, an iPad, and cyberbullying can really be an issue.
Yeah, over in UJ, how big is it of a problem of cyberbullying?
Cyberbullying here, it's a growing problem in South Africa. A survey of 200 South African parents in February 2021, they found that 51.5 of their children had been cyberbullied. And then there's trolling.
Talking about the use of technology in schools, but how about the latest thing, AI or artificial intelligence?
Learning apps, using AI-powered apps to track students' progress. AI is helping struggling students early by analyzing data and patterns in students' performance, homework assistance, offering explanations, tools, and guidance.
Yeah, personally, I do use AI in my schoolwork. I don't know about you guys in UJ, but since being in the pandemic, it's been a online to a physical learning environment. That's been a major change. So using AI has been helping me with like my essays. Well, not entirely. It's more so of a tool to enhance my learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say many kids may not know how to use AI properly as they're so young and they're learning how to learn. They might not know the rights and wrongs of, okay, you can use AI here, but you can't use it here. So there might be that kind of sticky middle grounds for children in learning how to use it.
Yeah, definitely, because at the end of the day, I feel like we're a generation that is not the full internet experience, but we're up and coming in the internet world. So how is AI used in South Africa? In school, Sally?
Well, AI is being implemented in South Africa. However, due to the digital divide, there are some bit of challenges. Our teachers in South Africa currently are equipping themselves with the necessary skills to teach learners how to use AI correctly. But however, let us look at this important issue that most of you might know that some areas in South Africa are disadvantaged. That means that the South African school, some of them are disadvantaged, right? So you can understand that if we have a disadvantaged school, that means we have lack of access to facilities such as Wi-Fi and data, and that causes a great challenge to learners equipping themselves with AI and keeping up with times. But we are implementing AI in South Africa.
Additionally, AI is affecting the credibility of students' work in South Africa with well-known apps such as ChatGPT. Students are relying too much on AI that they aren't actually learning anything. My personal experience with AI is, besides the criticism around AI, it's very helpful for me to tackle difficult essay questions while using AI. It helps me to generate ideas on how to tackle those difficult questions.
Well, as Rose and Sally have mentioned, we are using AI in South Africa, and it's really, really helpful in terms of academics. We are using it in our academic journey, but though it has to be in the right way, as Ainsley had mentioned, that you have to use it right and not the other way around. So yes, after the pandemic, AI has really been an assistance to students in South Africa.
Here at TMU, we've got something called Policy 60, which essentially addresses academic integrity. If students are found to have committed academic misconduct, they have been heavily penalized and even face expulsion.
Yeah, recently our university's Instagram page called Toronto Met had posted a video about the proper use of ChatGPT, which, as you know, is a popular AI program here in Canada. It was a hilarious video about the do's and don'ts of AI and how to not get caught.
So TMU is pretty aware that their students are using AI, and they've been proactive about letting their students know about proper practices with it. However, it seems that there's still some students who have been caught submitting full essays that have been copy and pasted straight from ChatGPT. But it seems that not only students are using AI to complete their work, professors and instructors as well use it to detect plagiarism, like Turnitin, which is something that our profs use here in TMU.
Yeah.
We have reached the end of our show at UJ, The View from Here. And the stories, or the show rather, has showed us that our stories can also have an impact and a global reach to tell our African perspective.
Well, thanks to our fellow students involved in the production of these films, our technical colleagues at the UJTV studios.
And a big thank you to the students at the Toronto Metropolitan University for joining us today.
Thanks for watching today's show. By the way, this isn't the only episode of The View from Here. We've also produced shows with universities in Brazil, England, Netherlands, UK, Hong Kong that dive into the high cost of living from food to housing to healthcare around the world.
You can watch this episode and all of our new From Here shows on Facebook, YouTube, or visit our website, globalcampus.org. Bye.